Okay, hi, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Social Care and Tackling Poverty Service Transformation Committee for April. First item on the agenda is apologies for absence.
No apologies, Chair.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry, can I give Hayley's the IT have got a computer, they're trying to sort it out. She can't access. Okay, Hayley Gwilliam.
Okay, thanks, Alison. Okay, item 2 on the agenda then is disclosures of personal and prejudicial interests. Okay, I can't see any. Item 3 on the agenda, the minutes then, to approve and sign the minutes of the previous meeting. As correct, the previous meeting was on the 26th of February 2024. You're happy to move those minutes as a correct record? Yeah, okay. I'll have a sec. Can you second that, somebody, please?
I'll second that.
Okay, thanks, Mike. Okay, and then on to item 4 on the agenda then, which is the Enabling Communities Grant, which is for information, but I can see we've got Anthony and Mark here. Do you want to just talk us, Mark? Yeah.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you all. Nice to see you all again. As we said a couple months back, obviously we would like to come back and kind of update the committee on how it's gone. Obviously, a lot of the background is in the report that's been sent out before the meeting, and you guys are aware of that from previous committees that we've attended. But obviously, it was launched on the 1st of November. One of the main things, as we said before, was to bring the different types of funding together to make that more streamlined and easier for people to apply for. That worked. The vast majority actually applied for at least 2, if not 3, of the different pots, and it shows in the take up of the amount of applications that we had. Obviously, on the second page, it shows that we had over 264 applications received across the 3 areas, which was for a plethora of different services and activities and things like that. One of the things I wanted to point out was how quickly that the teams, not me, but the teams were able to turn it around. And the reason for that, obviously, there was a lot of small charities and small third sector providers that applied for this funding, and wanted to put on things like Christmas and things like that. They wouldn't have been able to have put them on unless they were sort of paid initially. They couldn't have afforded really to kind of wait for that. So we wanted to get the payments out as fast as we possibly could into communities to enable that, because obviously over the winter and Christmas period in particular, food, Swansea spaces in particular, they have some of the hardest times of the year. So in terms of the outcomes that we wanted to achieve from initially bringing it to the committee, we feel that teams worked together and did achieve that. We currently are in the middle of evaluation because the lots of the projects finished on the 31st of March. So we're waiting now for all the different evaluations to come in. But when that comes in, we will have a full report, which we can obviously forward to everybody. But based on expected participation levels, we're looking at about 30,000 attendances or participation, or those that received support via the 3 different schemes. So it got the resources into the communities that that of need, and there was a definite uptake in terms of applications and people attending. So it does show obviously the need and that, especially with cost of living, etc. We did have some learning, as it's always important to do in these certain things, and it's been said a successful cross-council collaborative approach, really. And one of the things that we are looking to ensure this year, we are looking to develop, to deliver a coast activity program in the summer as well, funded via SPF, Shared Prosperity funding. that's it. I don't want to take up too much of your time because I know I was very busy. If anyone's got any questions, it would be
Great, thanks, Mark. Any questions from anybody in the committee? Any comments? Alison, do you want to come in?
I just wanted to come in to just thank the officers, really thank, I see Mark and Anthony there, and that, but this was a huge process that was done in, a very short period of time. These grants had to turn around to get out for, say, Christmas, and the small organisations in the third sector didn't have the money to pre-fund, to fund and claim back. There was a real tight turnaround, and I can honestly say, they had this uphill battle, but they all just knuckled down and got through it and got it out, and so many people have benefited. It's unbelievable the difference that is made, and it's important that officers realise the difference they have made to people out in our community. So it's just, I know I've already thanked them personally, but it's just for you all to know and to thank them. Thanks, Kerry.
Okay, thanks, Alison. Councillor Walton?
Basically, same kind of thing as Alison's just said. I think it's obviously been very successful. Very pleasing to see that only a few £100 have not been spent out of the 500. That's brilliant. That's amazing. And just very pleased that here it is, 237 projects have benefited from this. I can't say any more than that, but thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Walton. Anybody else want to come in? I can't see anybody else indicating. I can't really. He's not that great. Yeah, just wanted to say, guys. Obviously, you came to the committee back in the autumn, and we also had a workshop with Jane, wasn't it? Jane Whitmore was there as well. Back around that time, so we got to see really how quickly you got this set up. As really impressive, actually. That it was a bit of a no-brainer anyway, wasn't it? The concept of it was obvious it was going to be kind of, added value in terms of combining those things, but logistically it's a bit of a nightmare, these things, and obviously time was a premium. So just to echo what everyone else has said, really well, to everybody involved, well done. It was really impressive that you can deliver on that. And I think we've seen over the last few years that the council gets a bit of a rep for being a slow moving organisation, but when it needs to, it can adapt, and that's down to you guys, really, isn't it? So well done for that. I do a small question I wanted to ask in terms of the application form. Did you use a digital application form? So is that able to, in terms of your outputs and stuff, able to help you with the evaluations? It's just a small question, but just interested, that's all.
Yeah, so we work with the web team, so Liz Shell's team and Kerry to so it's an online form. And again, it's like technical wizardry to me. I'm a bit but there was like different elements, so you could select which area of the 3 that you wanted to. You could do 1, 2, or 3, and then it combines it all. Really a real time saver in terms of staff time, because historically we would have maybe had like an Excel spreadsheet and we'd copy and paste and that. It's all done automatically. It gets put into a spreadsheet, which makes it easier then for the multi-agency panel to sit as well and have all the information at hand. Yeah, and then that's all online. And then there's the GOS system now that the evaluation form is on, which the projects will fill in online. And then there's members of Tony and I's team will sort of collate all that as well, and it's all very impressive. But yeah.
Thanks. Yeah, just to add to that, is that we were encouraging organisations to be able to apply online, and that does give us information about what each project was aiming to achieve and who the project would benefit. But of course, both teams were on hand to support organisations that did struggle with online applications. We were there to provide that support, but we did try and use the online facility because it is very efficient for, like you say, there was a quick turnaround. So that big thanks to the web team for their support and being part of the team in pulling that together.
Thanks, thanks both. I think you preempted probably our next question then, Tony, about helping other organisations who weren't the best. You've obviously been here before. No, that's great. So thanks very much for that. And as I say, it's a really impressive piece of work. And we, Councillor Walton, is that a legacy hand or?
Yeah, no, I'd forgotten. I had got a question I wanted to ask. Similar to yours, I just wanted to know, did it help having the 3 pots combined so people didn't need to have to find a different form depending on what pot of money they went for? Just curious to see if that's the way to go in the future as well.
Yeah, it definitely did. The reason why we went for that approach was when we ran previous funding, we were getting a lot of the same projects, sort of filling in at least one, if not, 2, if not, or 3. So we wanted to sort how we can reduce the burden again on our third sector because they'd have to fill in, the same referees or the same bank information and blah blah blah. So that did, speed up and make it much more efficient for the projects as well. And then it helps get working across technical poverty and commissioning. It enables us then, we don't need to kind of, go through the same information on multiple times. So it's definitely a much more efficient way where there are, funding that can be aligned. Obviously, certain things there will be, you have to do as individual. But these, we felt that there was a close enough alignment in order to do that.
Thanks.
That's great. I mean, I think I speak for everyone in the committee. It would be great to see the results of that evaluation. Whatever the committee is next in the next municipal year, and whoever the chair is. But it would be really interesting. I know I personally would be really interested in seeing kind of the detail on the kind of the impact and the reach as well, and more detail on the lessons learned, I guess. So that would be really, really helpful. So, but thanks very much for coming again today, and thanks for everything you've done over the last year, because you've been here a lot. With Amy as well. So I really appreciate all the support and all the work you've done, guys. It's been really impressive.
Thank you.
Oh, sorry, Councillor Connor.
Yeah, no, again, just thank you for everything that's been done. A slightly different note, just because looking at the agenda, obviously some people felt that it wasn't suitable for the 50 plus. I'm just wondering if we've got any plans in place for that age group going forward, and then how much money is in the pot via the shared prosperity fund for 24-25 activities.
Thank you, Councillor. Yeah, so basically what some of the feedback that we had from some of the providers for the 50 plus community was a lot of their members are busy on the weekends then, so it was maybe it's not the holiday and the peak times, the weekends that they wanted that provision. It was more in the weeks and things like that. Although we did run Summer of Fun last year, or Coast, sorry, last year, and in the summer it seems less of an issue because of, I guess, it is available all summer long, so that is the weeks as well. So yeah, it was more learning. If we were to do that over this period again, we might need to look at that differently. So yeah, it is, and that's the point. Is we're always looking at feedback and trying to co-produce our different process and things like that in order for us to deliver the most appropriate services for the different communities. So in bringing it all together, sometimes it works really well, and then other times it just throws up other issues that we just need to look at it slightly differently, and then to make sure it fits everybody's requirements really.
Yeah, no, of course it's hard to please people all the time, isn't it, to please everybody? But I think the Summer of Fun is hugely popular. I know from various WhatsApp groups that I'm on that they're shared and people are really enjoying that. So I just wanted to feed that back to you also.
Thank you. Yeah, in terms of budget, I think it's around $500,000, I think, but I don't know exactly because we're still there's still some budget things going on in the background. So
lovely, thank you.
Yeah, I've got Councillor Anthony and then Councillor Lawton. So Alison first.
Yeah, I need to bring in, Mark just said about, the sort of, there were some limitations on there, 500,000 sounds a lot of money, but it doesn't really go that far. And, you know, we were afraid of opening it up to all week, and, you know, it would be out of the control. But of course, you know, your warm spaces, which was part of it, you know, there was elements of them that could be used at other times, you know, so if you couldn't do one, you could apply for the other one. Do you know what I mean? So, and I think a lot of groups took that opportunity, you know, a lot of groups that I'm involved with, I know, have taken that opportunity, and the food ones, and you know, so I suppose even if you couldn't do the one, you know, some could apply for all three, but for others, it give them the options and to be creative as well, I think, to get things to work. So yeah, that's all I want to say.
Okay, and then Councillor Lawton, please.
Hi, thank you. Yeah, I just was really following on from what Councillor Anthony was saying. I wanted to know what the ongoing provision was going to be for the food grants specifically. I know that around the warm hubs, a lot of people have found some of the social aspects in particular of gathering and sharing meals together really, really helpful and really effective, and have built up some really nice community atmosphere with that. But in terms of the wider food provision going on, how is that going to work out?
Thank you, Councillor. That's a great question. I'll come in to respond to that. So I'll give you some figures actually. During the height of winter this year, we had approximately 90 spaces registered on Swansea Council's Swansea Spaces directory. And we estimate from the portion of the Enabling Communities grant that directly supported the holiday food. So aside from food that was part of Swansea Spaces provision, we estimate that funding has provided approximately 40,000 meals. You'll probably be aware that holiday food became an issue during this financial year following Welsh Government withdrawing the free school holiday meals payments, and this was part of Swansea Council's response to fill in that gap. We are, you know, we're early April now. We're looking at options for this year. We haven't yet identified a pot where we'd be able to, where I could say that we are able to carry on with that provision for the summer, but the Enabling Communities grant has provided that support through the Christmas holiday, the half term, and through this Easter holiday that has just ended. So we'll be looking at options for, you know, for if we're able to continue with a similar programme during this year, but haven't got a pot identified currently.
Okay, I can't see any other indications. Again, thanks very much to everybody for your work. If I come in to come back in, Mark, quickly.
Yeah, can I, sorry, Chair, can I say again, thanks to the committee as well for your advice and support over the last 12 months, because obviously we came to you guys with a vision and an idea, and you guys have supported really well. So, no, we want to thank you as well for your support and kind words, because obviously it has impacted and changed thousands of lives in Swansea and helped thousands of people. So I just want to thank you and for your kind words today from the various councillors. We will feed that back to the teams, because although it's Tony and I that might sit here, it's the teams behind us that enable all this fantastic work to happen and to deliver it as quickly and as efficiently as they did. So we will take that back. Also, thank you on behalf of the teams that sit here now.
Okay, thanks, guys. Thanks for that. It's great. On to the next item then on the agenda, which is item 5, which is the Social Care and Tackling Poverty Service Transformation Committee Annual Report for 2023-2024. I think, Simon, you're just going to briefly talk us through it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. This report summarises some of the builds on the previous discussion, really, and summarises some of the excellent work that this committee has been privileged to hear about and take forward over the last year. It's been fairly short cycle, it feels like to me, isn't it? And yet, this is a new committee born out of the Corporate Delivery Committee, with a focus particularly on service transformation, taking change through at pace, and aligning the work of this committee to the transformation programmes of the council within the work within the set out within the corporate plan and the next steps and policy commitments, and but building on the programs around enabling and enabling communities and preventative work, the community resilience, and work from the previous committee as well that we carry forward, as you were, the volunteering work, which we touch on later on in the report. So we agreed a work programme reflecting all of that those areas of activity with the transformational focus in September last year, and this report really just touches on some of that work with the idea that we reflect the outputs and the outcomes of the work. Well, obviously that's quite tricky to do in terms of outcomes, because often they're they're quite longitudinal, or they're rich in some of the impact it has on people's lives. But the actual one of the things I found when pulling this report together is that there was a lot of evidence available. This committee has heard and seen and received reports, isn't it? Which is a good body of evidence to draw on. So the idea behind this report was just really to reflect, summarise some of the main pieces of work that we've participated in as a committee under your chairmanship, and to highlight where those outputs have been received, and to really focus our attention going forward to see the impact of the work. So some of the areas that the work programme I've heard about and participated in has been the corporate volunteering strategy, first of all, and that carried forward from the previous committee, didn't it? But actually, it was a really good example of collaborative working and partnership working with Swansea CVS, and who attended the meetings over a period of time. The work started on a regional basis and became localised, and the focus during our involvement has shifted in terms of the safeguarding element of the work as well, isn't it? And so it become at the moment, I think the focus is on it be the safe recruitment strategy and ensuring a safe workforce. So the idea around volunteering adds value in a different way to the workforce, isn't it? The council's workforce. So there's potential there going forward that the support and the support to roles that paid roles within the council can be undertaken in a different way. We've already heard about the levelling up and enabling communities work, and again, these are examples of really good co-production, aren't they, in terms of the work that's been carried out, working with stakeholders in a different way, being creative and innovative in coming up with solutions, but also consolidating work as well, isn't it? So I won't go too much into that one, but again, it built on some of the discussions we had in the workshop earlier in the year, wasn't it? And really came together quite quickly. Obviously it has a high prominence in terms of context, doesn't it, with the cost of living crisis and issues that are affecting all families and communities across across the county. So that works. Obviously, we've talked about the impact of that work. We've also received information about a quite diverse set of services within, particularly within the child and family service realm, and really the work's touched on a reshaping of the service offer, and alongside some policy work, but again co-produced with people, isn't it? With children, with families, with parent carers, and with partner agencies as well. So we heard about special guardianships and special guardianship orders, and again that's following through the sort of level of support available to children with complex needs often, isn't it? And having a broader range of support options for children and young people. We heard about the When I'm Ready scheme as well, which is again a fairly new offer in terms of, or recasting of an offer really to support children through transition, children and young people into a transitional period of time where they might be, moving from the looked after system and into, but still needing the support and and really the outcomes, guiding the guiding hand of the authority in that. We heard about the short breaks service offer as well, didn't we? And how that is supporting children with complex needs and parent carers as well. So and then the tackling poverty strategy is, as I mean, a lot of work was done around the co-produce the refresh of the tackling poverty strategy, and that involving local communities and people in how that should look. Obviously, with the many challenges that we're all facing, and that work's now leading towards a new set of actions, and will probably extend into further work. And we've also, within adult services, looked at the internal residential care offer, and that builds on, again, co-production, new approaches to commissioning, and being quite innovative in how services are being provided to meet the wider set of needs and complexity of need that exists within the population. So those are all represented within the report. There are, as I say, links within the report to the various outputs. So I think that's quite different, really, in terms of, the work is evident. In terms of the conclusion, really, looking ahead, I mean, the report doesn't pick up necessarily on the conclusions to the Levelling Up and Enabling Communities report. So that's alongside that as a report. But we are, I mean, in terms of policy, looking at social value now, aren't we, within the social care, health and social care realm? That idea of social value, and that these are very good examples of that, aren't they? Where it's not just about what the authority does anymore, isn't it? There are a lot more participants in that creation of social value and having a greater impact for investment, of resources, really, not just money. And the other policy area that this sort of work supports is the rebalancing care and support, which is about really a sustainable model going forward, where we want to reduce levels of demand and dependency from the population by building up resilience and forward thinking, really, in terms of planning. So it's all and helping people in a different way, maybe through crisis periods. So it's all about a sustainable approach. And so as I mentioned, we'll be looking at the tackling poverty action plan and how that will be taken forward, and hopefully to make an impact in terms of the broader social context and the volunteering implementation of a volunteering strategy. So those elements they'll still carry forward. So that's.
Thanks, Evan. Thanks for feeding back to us, and thanks for obviously for putting the report together for us in the first place. I really appreciate that, because to try and summarise a year's worth of work is a lot. So I'm just going to bring Dave Howes in for a second. Dave, do you want to come in? Yeah.
Thanks, Chair. I mean, thanks first of all for all the work the committee's participated in during the year. I thought that was an impressive summary of the work of the committee. I think the intention is for all of the committees to submit effectively an end of term report on what they've been up to, and then they'll be brought together in a single overarching report. So this will be an appendix, assuming that you sign it off today as a committee, that this will be an appendix to that overarching report that will then be, I think, presented to council. So just to update you on intended next steps, Chair, as long as the committee are happy that it's an accurate summary of all your work.
Yeah, thanks, Dave. Before we formally consider the report in terms of moving it for inclusion into the Cabinet report and Council report, as Dave has just described, any comments, thoughts or questions in response to the report and what Simon has said? Can't say be indicated. No, that's fine. So I think perhaps that we'll move forward then and just formally, are you all happy as as members of the committee to move the report? Yeah. Everything thumbs up. Anybody not? She asked that question. No, I can't see it again. Okay, that's fine then. So we'll move. Dave has outlined the next step, so you all know what it'll be. It'll move forward as a report to be included in with the council as an appendix. So that's absolutely fine. One question I was going to ask is a couple of potentially, I don't know whether now is the right time. Maybe be best for the next municipal year. But just thinking about in terms of the things that we'll carry forward for next year. There's a favourite things, I suppose. Perhaps that's best left to the next municipal year. What do you think, Alison? Dave, do you want to come in? Yeah.
I mean, you've got the one item that's flagged in the report that you didn't manage to schedule and get to this year. I don't know whether that was the committee or us not being ready to bring something forward. I think it's reasonable to recommend to the next iteration of the committee that is followed up. I think it's right to leave it until new municipal year and the committee being reformulated. At that point, we'll probably have refreshed iterations of both the children's services, the adult services transformation programs, and then also the community, what's that called? Enabling Communities program. So probably maybe at that stage for each of those refreshed programs to be presented to the committee, and you might then be able to formulate a view on which bits you could most helpfully contribute to in the coming year.
Yeah, thanks. Dave. That sounds sense. But I think on that one item that we didn't get to, I think it's because we had such a long list this year. I mean, in previous years we've worked on 3 major items, and this year I think we were looking at around 7 or 8. So it's been it's been a really busy work plan that we've had. So it's not surprising that we haven't got to that yet. But okay. Any thoughts, comments, or queries? Because the work plan obviously is now complete. So item 6, we need to discuss that. Any thoughts, comments, or queries on anything else before we pull the meeting to a close or draw the meeting to a close? Okay, just for me to say thanks to all the officers for all the support. Thanks to Alison for the support throughout the year. Thanks to Legal for their support as well. It's been, again, another really interesting year to see all your work up close and the amazing work that you're all doing for Swansea and for us as councillors and our residents as well. So thanks very much for all your support, and we'll see what the new year brings in terms of what the transformation plan looks like next year. So thanks to you all, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you.